So, in March of 1986, the first BMW M3s roll off the production line. These sports sedans would lay the groundwork for one of the most legendary runs of any car in the entire history of the automobile. The BMW M3 is widely agreed upon as being one of the best and most defining vehicles, not just cars, but vehicles ever made. However, in recent history, the M3 has made some changes, ditching its two-door configuration in favor of becoming a four-door sedan. And other countries, with their automotive manufacturers, have decided to take a swing at the sports sedan market. And I think some of them have actually probably beaten the M3. Ah yes, America. Land of heart-clogging cheese that, oddly enough, literally has the consistency of diarrhea. Also, it's home to the first car on this list, the Cadillac CT4V-Blackwing. Now, before you throw a fit, I know, the CT5V-Blackwing is an option, along with the Dodge Charger, although, unfortunately, not for much longer. However, I think the CT4V-Blackwing is the best America has to offer in terms of practicality. It's the cheapest true performance sedan on sale today. It has an exceptional interior for the price point, and you can get it standard with a manual transmission. What's not to love? If you line the M3 up against the CT4V-Blackwing, on the stat sheet, for horsepower, torque, 0 to 60, track times, and more, they are almost exactly identical.
Can I get in here? I need to... Oh my God!
It's like looking in a mirror!
No, it isn't, Gene.
Who's Gene?
I already can't tell who's who.
Except for one major and arguably the most important measurable metric: the pricing. The CT4V-Blackwing starts at around $60,000, whereas the BMW M3 starts at $74,000, making the M3 almost $14,000 more for what is essentially the same car in every measurable metric. Now, if there's one thing Italians know how to do, it's cooking the pizza. If something was a close second, it's how to do everything in their power to make sure that Charles Leclerc doesn't win a race, let alone a world championship. A close third, though, is making a damn good track car. Next up on the chopping block is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. This is a four-door sedan with an engine loosely based on the turbo V8 from a Ferrari California, essentially making this a Ferrari-powered sedan. It uses a twin-turbo V6 to make 505 horsepower, outclassing the M3 competition not only in horsepower, but in almost every other performance metric. You do pay a little extra for the Alfa, and like every other Italian car ever made, it does have some tendencies for the electronics to pull an Epstein and off themselves, allegedly. But if you're willing to put up with those, you will get a performance car unrivaled in its lethality around a track. For anyone in the EU or the UK, you could even get a more track-focused variant called the GTA M, which has additional extreme weight savings like taking out the rear seats, a metric crap ton of carbon fiber aero, and a power boost to 533 horsepower. Now, the GTA M is not only a car capable of beating other sports sedans around a track, but I would say any other performance car around a track as well. And in addition, this is a car that I would argue should be considered as an all-time great performance car, not just performance sedan. Even though the next car is unfortunately not on sale anymore, the Holden Commodore SS was and still is a very serious track day threat to any BMW M3. Now, stateside, we did get this car. At first, it came over here in the form of the Pontiac G8, and later came over as the Chevy SS. But since we've been going by countries, we'll focus on the Commodore. The Commodore SS, with its 6.2-liter LS block V8 putting out 408 horsepower, was very close behind the M3 of the same era, which produced 425 horsepower, but made up for it not only in pricing, with the Holden costing $38,000 to the BMW's $64,000 price tag, but also with its ability to mod. With the money saved, you could mod the suspension in that LS to beat anything around any track anywhere on the planet, not just M3s. It cannot be understated the capabilities that these LS blocks can have with just a big turbo or a blower on it. On top of all that, the parts for the Commodore are dirt cheap compared to the BMWs. In addition to that, for all you Aussies out there, you lucky bastards could also get the Commodore SS in a wagon or a ute, and a few fancy special edition HSVs. And that's just on a normal track. On the drag strip, forget the M3 and forget any other sports sedan. A modded Commodore SS can and will beat anything, from M3s up to the most expensive supercars. Now, in America, we got the announcement directly from Dodge that our favorite 84-month loan, 30% interest car, the Dodge Charger, would be getting the old Yeller treatment. With the axing of the Charger, the only real option of V8 sports sedans that we have left is the Cadillac CT4V-Blackwing. So you think. This next entry from Japan is, in my opinion, one of the most criminally underrated sports cars, let alone sports sedans on sale today. You would think that the Lexus IS 500F would have a ton of hype here because America. But sure enough, not a lot of car enthusiasts even know about it, let alone actually even want one. The Lexus IS 500F Sport is a Japanese four-door sedan with a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. It has the exact same horsepower figures as the M3, and with a starting price of around $60,000, which keep in mind is $14,000 cheaper than the M3, it's a slam dunk and unrivaled in the fact that it's naturally aspirated. Pair all of that with the fact that its drivetrain is made by Toyota and Lexus, so it's super reliable, and you have a family car for the week and an absolute track beater for the weekends. Sure, it might be full of yesterday's tech, but to those who would scoff at that and say that that's the reason why they're not going to buy the car, I have one thing to say.
Come on! Come on!
It's a 5-liter NA V8 in a 4-door sedan. How is that not fun? Especially in a world like this where emissions are clamping down on all of our favorite performance cars. You have to appreciate that. Sure, we've come to expect stuff like this from Dodge and even Mercedes. But Lexus? Lexus is more unexpected than when the US Pentagon misplaced $2 trillion on September 10th, 2001. Just totally out of left field. Who cares though? I'm sure nothing ever came of that. The final car on this list actually happens to be right in the M3's backyard, right down the Autobahn, one of the most tunable examples of any car since the Supra, let alone a 4-door sports sedan, is tearing up drag strips, autocross track days, and more all over the world. The Audi RS3, in my opinion, is going to go down as one of the most legendary sports sedans of all time. Its stats on paper may not be that impressive, especially compared to the likes of the M3, as it has less horsepower, less torque, and is slower around a track. However, it's around $15,000 cheaper than the M3. And that 15 grand, if you put into tuning that legendary 2.5-liter TFSI 5-cylinder, can and will make it a vehicle even supercars won't want to mess with. On a stock block, these motors have been known to make 1,000 horsepower. And on stock internals, you can get it tuned to about 500 horsepower. That's more horsepower than any other car on this list aside from the Alfa. This is probably the best 4-door sports sedan on sale today, and its track and drag strip capabilities are unrivaled compared to any other car, not only on this list, but I would argue on sale today. This can and will go toe-to-toe with any supercar, sports car, whatever. Hell, this might even beat a twin-turbo R8 or a Lamborghini Huracan and give it a very serious run for its money. Not to mention an amazing interior, and good lord, the exterior of this just looks amazing. I can't get enough of this car. It is just perfect. Anyways, yeah, RS3 versus M3, RS3 wins every single time.